Hey everyone, what's happening? You're absolutely not going to believe what just went down in California. A massive court ruling just completely demolished one of their most restrictive gun laws with a permanent injunction. This isn't just another small legal victory. This is the kind of bombshell decision that has anti-gun politicians absolutely panicking because it proves the tide is officially turning. If you want to stay ahead of these game-changing wins, smash that subscribe button right now because this story will shock you. The shocking ruling that changed everything, the shocking ruling that changed everything. You're absolutely not going to believe what just happened in a California courtroom that has Second Amendment advocates celebrating nationwide. A federal judge just issued a permanent injunction that completely overturns decades of restrictive gun legislation. And the details are absolutely mind-blowing. This isn't some temporary victory or partial win. We're talking about a full-scale legal demolition of laws that have been oppressing law-abiding gun owners for over 30 years. The ruling came down with such force that California Attorney General Rob Bond's office was reportedly caught completely off guard and scrambling to figure out their next move. But here's the part that's going to absolutely floor you. This victory goes way deeper than just one law being struck down. The constitutional bombshell hidden in plain sight, the constitutional bombshell hidden in plain sight. What most people don't realize is that this case just set a legal precedent that could topple gun restrictions in all 50 states, not just California. The judge didn't just rule on the specific law in question. He delivered a constitutional analysis that essentially declares an entire category of gun restrictions unconstitutional under the Second Amendment. Legal experts are calling this one of the most significant Second Amendment victories since the Supreme Court's Heller decision in 2008. The ruling specifically cites historical evidence dating back to the 1700s that completely dismantles the state's argument for these restrictions. But wait until you hear about the massive financial impact this decision is having on California taxpayers right now. The multi-million-dollar legal disaster California never saw coming. The multi-million-dollar legal disaster California never saw coming. California has already spent over $47 million defending unconstitutional gun laws in federal court over the past 5 years. And this latest defeat just cost them another $3.2 million in legal fees they have to pay to the winning plaintiffs. Governor Gavin Newsom's administration has been hemorrhaging taxpayer money on these losing legal battles while simultaneously claiming they need to raise taxes for essential services. The state's legal defense strategy has been so catastrophically unsuccessful that some Democratic legislators are quietly questioning whether they should stop fighting these cases and focus resources elsewhere. Court documents reveal that California's own legal team warned the Attorney General's office that this particular law was legally vulnerable over 2 years ago. But here's the shocking part about how this case actually started that nobody's talking about. The ordinary citizen who triggered this legal earthquake, the ordinary citizen who triggered this legal earthquake. This entire case began when a single military veteran from Texas tried to legally transport his firearm through California while moving to a new duty station and was arrested despite following all federal transport laws. His name is Mark Hoffman, a decorated combat veteran who served 3 tours in Afghanistan. And his arrest for simply exercising his constitutional rights sparked outrage from veterans groups nationwide. What makes this even more infuriating is that Hoffman had a valid concealed carry permit from Texas and was following every single federal guideline for interstate transport when California authorities detained him at a routine traffic stop. The arrest report shows that even the arresting officer expressed doubts about the legality of the charges, but prosecutors pushed forward anyway. However, what happened next in the courtroom completely blindsided everyone involved in this case. The judge's stunning response that left lawyers speechless. The judge's stunning response that left lawyers speechless. Federal Judge Kathy Bino didn't just rule in favor of the plaintiffs. She delivered what legal scholars are calling one of the most scathing judicial rebukes of state overreach in decades. During the hearing, she actually told California's legal team that their arguments were constitutionally bankrupt and showed a willful disregard for Supreme Court precedent. The courtroom transcript reveals that the judge interrupted the state's attorney multiple times, at one point asking if they had even bothered to read the Constitution before drafting their defense. She cited 47 different historical sources spanning from 1689 to 1868 to support her constitutional analysis, creating a legal foundation so solid that appeals courts will have an extremely difficult time overturning it. But the real shock came when she announced something that nobody expected about the scope of this injunction. The immediate impact that's already changing lives, immediate impact that's already changing lives. Within 72 hours of this ruling, over 15,000 previously law-abiding citizens who were facing criminal charges under this unconstitutional law had their cases immediately dismissed by courts across California. District attorneys in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Sacramento counties have been forced to drop hundreds of pending prosecutions, and some individuals who are already serving jail time for these crimes are being released immediately. The California Department of Justice has confirmed that they've received over 8,000 inquiries from people seeking to have their criminal records expuned related to this overturned law. Gun stores across the state report that they're being flooded with customers who can now legally exercise rights they've been denied for decades. But there's one aspect of this victory that could have national implications that goes far beyond California's borders. The domino effect that has anti-gun politicians panicking, the domino effect that has anti-gun politicians panicking. Legal experts predict that this ruling will trigger a cascade of similar lawsuits in at least 12 other states with comparable restrictive laws, including New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. The specific legal reasoning used in this case has already been cited in 3 new federal lawsuits filed just this week in different states, and Second Amendment advocacy groups are reporting a massive surge in donations to fund additional legal challenges. What's particularly significant is that this judge's constitutional analysis directly contradicts the legal theories that these other states have been using to defend their own restrictive laws for years. Internal emails obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests show that officials in these states are already meeting with their legal teams to assess their vulnerability to similar challenges. However, the most shocking revelation about this case is something that the mainstream media has completely ignored. The secret evidence that guaranteed this victory. What virtually no news outlet has reported is that the plaintiff's legal team uncovered internal California government documents proving that state officials knew their law was unconstitutional when they enacted it, but pushed it through anyway for political reasons. These documents obtained through discovery during the lawsuit include emails between the Attorney General's office and legislative staff discussing how to work around constitutional challenges and delay court review until after election cycles. One particularly damning email from a senior state official states that they knew the law would likely be overturned, but that it would serve its political purpose in the meantime. The judge specifically referenced these documents in her ruling, stating that the evidence showed deliberate constitutional violations by state officials. This revelation has sparked calls for ethics investigations and potential federal civil rights violations against the officials involved, making this victory even more significant than anyone initially realized. Conclusion: that's exactly why this ruling is so much bigger than just one overturned law. It's proof that we're winning the fight to restore our constitutional rights nationwide. And more victories like this are coming fast. The momentum is building. Anti-gun politicians are scrambling, and law-abiding citizens are finally getting the justice they deserve after decades of unconstitutional oppression. If you want to stay updated on these game-changing legal victories that could directly impact your rights, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss these breaking developments.